when she walked through that door. The most beautiful girl I'd ever seen before. Sea green eyes and long blonde hair, cool smooth smile and didn't have a care. I don't know why, but she walked my way. I was scared to death, but I was ready to play. Love at first sight sets the spirit free. I felt the dark clouds part, I heard the angels sing. My heart caught fire and my soul can fly. That's when I knew I had to make her mine.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the big show. My name is Mickey, and this is Mickey in the Middle, the quintessential show for Middle Americans, where all Middle Americans are welcome. It doesn't matter where you've been. Doesn't matter where you're going. Just matters that you're here right now, and you love being in the middle. Here's what the deal is. I love Middle America, and I'm glad that you do too. So, for those of you who are not joining the show for the first time tonight, let me explain a little bit how this works. My name is Mickey in the Middle. I'm a Middle American. I have a Middle American life, and I'm very, very happy with it. I think America's greatest country in the whole wide world. Now, on this show, we try not to listen to the 20% of the crazies on the right or the 20% of the crazies on the left. We try to find workable solutions for what is best for the 60% of Americans in the middle. Let me tell you right now, Congress is not what's best for America right now. Those people cannot get along. They have divided us up like teams where you got red and you got blue, and you got to pick a team. Here's what the deal is. I believe in not picking a team. I believe in the teams working together so that we can find solutions for all of Americans. This is very easy to me. We send 535 people up to Congress. The 435 in the House of Representatives get elected every 2 years. The people in the Senate get elected for 6 years. 100% of the House of Representatives get turned over every 2 years. And we can get rid of every single one of them in the House of Representatives if we just stop thinking that they need to be there. Hey, vote for your favorite politician. Oh, how about no, let's not vote for our favorite politician. How about kicking them all out so the shit like this government shutdown doesn't keep going on? So anyway, I digress. Sometimes I go off on a tangent, and that's just the way that I happen to be. So, before we get started with the big show, just want to say thank you to Darla for inviting me out to the Options Pregnancy Banquet to raise money for Options Pregnancy Center. I thoroughly enjoyed the speaker that was speaking last night. He had a very, very, very compelling story about why you don't throw people away. And some people cried. I didn't. I'm tougher than that. I might have got a tear, but it wasn't crying and it wasn't bawling. But anyway, big, huge thanks to Darla for being awesome about that. And then let's see what Halloween. I went to Dollar General to pick a couple of things up, like iced tea and bread for my ducks. And lo and behold, I saw a conquistador and a kitty princess. They were very, very cute. They were coming in to pick up some things on their way to trick-or-treating or on the way back from trick-or-treating or a party or whatever somebody that tall and somebody this tall, when kitty princesses and conquistadors get together, it could be a big night. So then also the Dodgers and the Blue Jays are playing right now. Spoiler alert. They have been playing some really, really great baseballs on both sides of the diamond. And I just want to let you know that as soon as this show's over, I'm going to go back to watch them. Also, I've been working on the Poker Run app. Now, this is an app I developed to help people run poker runs. We are so close to getting it done. So thank you very much for everybody that's supporting me in that. And I just want to let you know, I will let you know when the poker run is done so you can run a poker run in your local neighborhood for yourself, for your family, for a charity, or for a great organization. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the big show. Here we go. So, we always start off with the Constitution, we the people of the United States of America. In order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and provide for the common defense, do to our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States. Oh my gosh, what prophetic words, man. That's a great, great thing. All right, world population clock. You are sharing the planet with 8,255,216,506 people. We have to be kind because that's a lot of people. In the United States, we have 347,889,000. Oh, wait a minute. 347,889,837 people that you are sharing the United States of America with. That's very, very important because we have, let's see if we can reload the debt. I can't reload the debt. It's not even giving me the option. Oh, there's the debt. United States of America is $37 trillion in debt. Every time I see that number, absolutely blows me away. All right. So, all right. What are we talking about today? Today, we're going to be talking about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's a big hot topic. As a matter of fact, it's so hot topic that everybody's freaking out about it right now. Why are they freaking out about it? Do we need it? Do we not need it? Is there a equal in the middle? Is there a middle ground that we can all come to that says that we will be diverse, we will find some type of equity, and we will be inclusionary in the way that we do our policies for the United States of America? So what I'm going to do tonight, and I'm going to tell you my story with DEI. I have a great DEI story. It's one of the greatest DEI stories that I've heard through anybody because I realized so what happened was there was a Facebook post about DEI and about how everybody needs to be able to get on board and do this DEI thing. And I kind of agreed with it. I was like, hey, look here, like most things, I'm like, hey, that sounds great. That sounds great. But let's evaluate what you really want to do. And then somebody pushed it back and I was like, hey, man, we're together on this. And then they pushed back some more and they were like, these are the statistics. And I was like, yeah, those are the statistics. But here's what the deal is. People are good. And they were like, yeah, people are good, but the people need to do this. And I'm like, so what you're saying is the people aren't good. What you're saying is the people need to be good the way that you want them to be good. And that's the way that this whole story started. So I started thinking about it. And when I started thinking about DEI in my family, I got four siblings. There's five of us in the family. We got 2 boys, 3 girls. Let me tell you about the diversity in my family. First of all, we have 2 genders. We have the female gender, and then we have the male gender. All of us are different. We're all of different heights. Although we have the same hair, we're politically different. So there's a couple of us that are on the left, and there's a couple of us on the right. And I would say that one of my sisters is in the middle. Now, there's a boy and a girl on the right, and a boy and a girl on the left, and a sister in the middle. And I say that because in my personal family, I've got a diverse point of view. Now, all of us have had our successes. All of us have had our failures. All of us have had our ups. All of us have had our downs. All of us live in the United States. We're so diverse that we're spread out from Georgia, way down in the southeast corner of the United States, all the way to Seattle, Washington, up there in the northwest corner of the United States. I'm in Arkansas. I'm kind of like in the middle. But here's what the deal is. My sister lives in Mississippi, and my other sister lives in Louisiana. So just want to let you know, we are not co-located. We're spread out. With that being said, when I grew up with all kinds of kids. Black, white, Asian. I don't know what their religious background was. It was never important to me. But that's just the way that I was raised. I was raised in an environment where we had multicultural influences surrounding me all the doggone time. With that being said, sports was a big part of my life. That was multicultural, and it was very diverse. We didn't have any girls playing on the team, but it was a boys' sports league. So there you go. One of the most important and influential things that happened to me in my life was when I was 16 years old, the person that I fell in love with, and I'm talking about hard love, turned around and said, this is never going to happen because I am a lesbian. And then I turned around and I was like, well, I don't know what that is, but I love you anyway. I'll take you any way you come. And she was like, no, I'm a girl and I like girls. So you're out of my league. So you're not even in the same cut. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm being cut from the team? How can I be cut from the team? I'm 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 a stud. I wasn't a stud. I was a midget. I was small. I was scrawny. I was athletic, but I was nothing special, and I got bad grades. She was way out of my league. She was pretty. She was smart. She got athletic scholarships. She got academic scholarships. She was the president of the class. She did everything. Multi-sport athlete. She was everything, and she kicked me to the curb. That was hard for me to process that I've been cut for the team. But in the subsequent years from that, we developed this really, really deep friendship. And we ended up going to gay bars. That's what they were called them. They were underground gay bars all over wherever we lived. Now, why is this important? Because it shaped me as a young person to understand that people are different and they all have different type of personalities. So we would go to these places and sometimes I would get hit on, sometimes I would not get hit on. Sometimes it was a gender, sometimes it was the same time, sometimes it was the same gender as me. And I understood that people are going to be people and they're going to love whoever they want to love. And that was very, very influential in my life because at that time, back in the 70s, this is 70s and early 80s, people that were gay were shunned in our society. That's a very, very important point. You have to understand. I understand the struggle because back in the late 70s and in the early 80s, gays, lesbians, and bisexuals were the LGB community, right? They didn't have any LGB, et cetera, et cetera. It was just LGBT, LGB. Uh, that was it. But they were shunned by society, staying in the closets, living in the shadows, loving who they wanted to love, not out for the public domain. That's critically important for everybody to understand. Because when I got in the United States military, my mind was a little bit different than everybody else. So I got in the United States military, but that was a very, very diverse, multicultural environment too. We had everything from Cubans, Haitians, Hispanic people, black people, white people. We all worked together, and we succeeded and we failed as a team. So that's the way that I grew up. Is that's how my mind was? Is like it doesn't matter who you are. Do you do the job or do you not do the job? Because if you don't do the job, I don't got time for you. But if you are going to do the job, then I need you because that's the way that military operates. And so for 30 years, that was my experience in the United States military. It didn't matter whether you were black or white or Hispanic or Asian or whatever the heck you wanted to be. It didn't matter whether you were Muslim or Catholic or Jewish or Presbyterian or Baptist or whatever. I didn't even know what the religion was of all of these people that were here. One of my first supervisors was gay. One of the last people that I had anything to do with in my military career was also gay. Happily married. So when I'm talking about diverse, I understand diverse. I also understand the struggle because I saw a lot of people that were of different backgrounds than me that were struggling. Example, women in the military. When I got in, women couldn't fly in combat roles. Before I got out, before we even had the turn of the century, women were flying on C-130s and in other combat airplanes that would go into combat zones. My last deployment had a woman as the commander of our crew. What's up, ma'am? If you're watching, she was incredible. So I get it. You know what the thing was? She was highly competent and she was highly credible and she knew her stuff. So that's why I wanted her as my pilot. Of my top 10 pilots, 4 of them are women. I'm just saying, of all time. My favorite pilot happens to be a woman. She doesn't know this, but man, I love flying with her because she could fly the wings off of a damn airplane. So my journey is important for the way that I look at this. Because when you look at DEI, you have to look at the historical context of DEI and where it came from. DEI didn't start recently. DEI has been going on for a really, really long time. Everybody has said, hey, look here, we have to be more diverse, we have to be inclusive, and we have to find some type of equity. So we've been fighting as a country and as a world to get to the DEI world. And that is good. That's great. Matter of fact, at one point, we had slaves in this country. We had slaves all over the world. They were in Africa, they were in Asia, they were all around the world, and they were in the Middle East, the Asian or the Middle Eastern slave trade run rampant, still going on. But in the United States of America, England was the first one to kick slavery to the curb. They said, hey, look here, a human being should not be able to be owned, and nobody in England is going to be able to own anybody ever again. Then the United States and a couple other countries followed shortly after that. And as a matter of fact, it got so bad in the United States that we had this thing called the Civil War. Do you want to know why? Because the majority of people that were white in the country that lived in the North said, hey, look here, this is wrong. A small percentage of people owned slaves. Some of those people were black, some of those people were white. Doesn't matter. Slavery was wrong no matter who was doing it. So we had an entire civil war about it. Now, all of the people that were in the South did not agree with the fact that they were fighting to keep slavery. They didn't agree with it. Some of them did, but not all of them. Not all of the people that were fighting for the North agreed why they were fighting with the North to free slaves. They believed that people should be able to have slaves. But there was a small percentage on either side because the vast majority of the country had decided that we're going to get rid of slaves. And we had a civil war over it, and the right side won. Thank goodness. And the next thing you know is we abolished slavery. Thank you, Abraham Lincoln, for making sure that got done. Now let's talk demographics. At the time, there was a small black population in the United States of America. It was like 10 or 12%. But the simple fact of the matter is that didn't happen without white people. So white people were like, hey, slavery's bad. They need to be able to live their life the way that the black people, the black population in the United States need to be able to live their life the way that they want to lead their life. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Next thing you know, Juneteenth came along, and down there in Texas, the final vestiges of slavery were lifted off of the nation. And now we have a celebration of Juneteenth every single year. That's historically. But there were still problems with that, right? So we came up with the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, which basically said, we're going to free the slaves, we're going to make them citizens, and we're going to give them the right to vote. Did you know at that time that women were not allowed to vote? So women were not allowed to vote. Women had no positions of power in the United States of America. Why is that important? Because white men and black men got together and they said, hey, look here, we need to have some equity, we need to have some diversity, and we need to be able to have these processes and programs where women can become whatever they want to be. So in the 1920s, guess what happened? Women got the right to vote. It's called suffrage, right? The right to vote is suffrage. So it's called women's suffrage. And guess what? Who did that? White people did that. It doesn't matter what party you were in. We decided that as a country that women needed to have the right to vote. So we freed the slaves and we got women the right to vote. The Civil War, and that wasn't enough because the Civil Rights Act of 1964 still had to be implemented because we had not gone far enough in order to make sure that people were included in our society. So the Civil Rights Act of 1964 came along. All of this shit is important because we have come so far. In 1990, we had the Americans with Disability Act. And then eventually the Supreme Court said that gay marriage was okay because we were working towards diversity and including everybody. And equity is a different form of that. So all of those were based on diversity, inclusion, and equality. There's a big difference between equality and equity. And everybody has to understand this in historical context, because what we were doing is we are looking at people throughout history and saying, hey, look here, you are now equal. You do you, boo. You get to go do whatever you want to do. And you can be a business person. You can be a hooker on a street. You can be a banker. There's 250 financial institutions owned by blacks in the United States of America. 250. Did you know that? But you can do whatever you want to do if you're multicultural, if you're not cultural, if you're diverse, if you're black, you're white, you're tall, you're heavy, you're short, you're fat, you're skinny, you're whatever. You can do whatever you want to in the United States of America. Why is this important? Why? Why, Mickey? Tell me why it's important. Because if you own a business, if you are your own self made person, nobody can tell you a damn thing how to do it. Let's say that you start an internet company. I'm starting a poker run app, right? I don't have to hire anybody, but I would. I would hire people if I need to do this, but it's going to be my company. And then all of a sudden, people are going to look at me and go, hey, look here, your workforce is not diverse enough. Your workforce is not getting enough equity. Your workforce is not inclusionary enough. You don't have enough women. You don't have enough black. You don't have enough Asians. You don't have enough short people. You don't have enough fat people. You don't have people with toenails. I don't care what it is. Long hair, short hair, hippie hair, crew cut, bald. It doesn't matter. There are characteristics of human beings, and that's what they want to base DEI on. That's what it is now. We've been fighting for equality so that people can have an equal opportunity to be successful. And that's where the good, the bad, and the ugly of the modern day DEI movement comes from. Because DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion. There's a big difference between diversity, equality, and inclusion. And I'm going to talk about those. So, all of what I'm about to say is under the shrinking model of when we started as a country and we had slaves, because we wanted more people to understand, and more and more and more and more people to understand the concepts of diversity, equality, and inclusion. So that when I was born, it's kind of like that's the way I was raised. Hey, look here, everybody is equal. So I got news for you. My two mentors in my business world, right? The people that I have done business with on a private equity basis have all been not white and not all men. As a matter of fact, I can't remember, other than when I was a consultant in the aerospace industry. These are all Spillane Enterprises things. I have not cut a deal with one single white male. I'm not saying I'm anything special. I'm just saying that the opportunities that have come towards me and the way that I've recognized them, I have said, hey, look here, man. I like you. I trust you. I'm going to put money in with you. And the reason I do that is because I am looking for the best deal. I'm not looking for any deal. So we have a shrinking population of people that are prejudiced. We have a shrinking population of people that are holding on to old ideas. We have a shrinking population of people that everybody's trying to cure with DEI. Everybody's like, hey, you need to get DEI trained. What if I'm a good person and I don't need it? What if I'm already aware? What if I already know? You're going to make me go to a class because you don't like the way that or you don't like the way that you think I think? Well, you're a white person. You're a male. Obviously, you're prejudiced, and you probably need to hear it. What harm could it do? Fuck you, harm can it do? It doesn't do me any harm. But if I don't need it, why do I got to sit there? And why do I got to live up to your expectations of what I'm supposed to think? You're trying to brainwash me. And that's what they're doing with DEI with all of the companies. They're like, hey, man, you need to have DEI training because you are prejudice against all of these groups because you don't have enough of this group in your organization. You don't have enough women. You don't have enough blacks. You don't have enough Asians. You don't have enough Hispanics. You don't have. Oh, wait a minute. Let's not stick to just a race. You don't have enough Muslims. You don't have enough Jews. You don't have enough Christians. You don't have enough Presbyterians. Well, has anybody thought about the Baptist, the Southern Baptist representation in a business? Is anybody representing them inside of a DEI training? They're a much smaller population than you think. I'm just saying, they're probably underrepresented in all of the northern businesses. They're probably underrepresented in all of the California businesses, right? Let's talk about DEI. Let's talk about diversity. Are we talking about all diversity, or are we only talking about certain specific things that you care about? Because here's what the deal is. Why do your preferences in what we're supposed to be dealing with the most important? In sports, when you're talking about football teams, baseball teams, basketball teams, hockey teams, soccer teams, they don't give a damn what race you are. They don't care what religion you are. They don't care what you do as long as you can score goals, shoot baskets, kick a field goal, score a touchdown, catch a pass. You want to see real inclusion? Go look there, because the inclusion is wrong there. The demographics in those sports are slanted depending on what sport it is, because the owners are only looking for who does what the best. There's a mental block that many people have in our country that says that their way is the only way. That, hey, look here, they're going to look at you and they're going to decide what is best for you and what you're supposed to do. And number one, I don't even like the government looking at what I do. It's none of their damn business. It's in the Constitution of the United States of America. It says that they're not allowed to go through my stuff, right? Amendment number 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. That means that the government can't be looking at your shit. They can't be just coming in and looking at your taxes. They just can't come in and look at your finances. They just can't come in and look in your house. They can't just come in. They have to have a reasonable suspicion that something has happened that is against the law or against humanity. Unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, in particular describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. And then you think you DEI people? You think I'm going to let you judge me? No, I'm too good for that. Right? You go, oh, well, you probably need to be trained in something. Yeah, but you're not going to determine what that is. You're not going to tell me that I'm a bad person because you think I'm bad. You can kiss my ass. Right? These are do-gooders. These are do-gooders that want to help the world. Well, guess what? We're helping the world. We got rid of slavery. We got women's right to vote with the 1964 Civil Rights Act. We got Americans with disabilities. Gay and lesbian people can get married. There's nothing I can do in the United States of America that you can't do. You go, but all these corporations. Yeah. Well, guess what? Those corporations can run their corporation the way that they want to. They're not looking to lose money. Find them highly qualified candidates that are diverse, and then they go, well, they're failing. Here's what the deal is: we need to lift them up. And you got to ask yourself, what are you doing at the local level where people are not getting educated? How come at the local level, people in certain cultures, certain demographics, certain school systems are failing all of their kids? How come? How come? You got to look at root causes for this. But the majority of people are good people. They believe in this diverse workforce. You ought to see the town that I live in. You know, they've got a a gay straight alliance in the high school down here in the deep south, right there in our school system. There's a gay straight alliance. Did you know that? Nobody's getting beat up for the religion that they are. Nobody's getting beat up for the color that they are. We're not a demographically diverse community where it comes with, hey, look here, 61% of the people are white and 14% of the people are black, and then whatever that number equals up to 75. So the other 25% are representative across the board, all the way down to Asians and disabled people. Right? That's not the way that we work here. Right? Is whoever wants to come live in our town can come live in our town. Hey, just come to our town. It's great. Right? So here's where I'm at with this. DEI. Let's go over those real quick. Diversity. All for it. We need to embrace the diversity that is in the nation. There are a lot of diverse people. My family's diverse. Your family's probably diverse. Brothers and sisters do not mean that they all think the same. We all grow up different. We all have different beliefs. We all believe in different things. And I guarantee that several of my brothers and sisters are not going to ever come and want to work with me because I'm left of them or I am right of them, because I truly try to be in the middle. But equity is bad. Watch this. Hey, Siri, what is equity?
In finance, equity is
Uh-oh. Stand by. Ah, no, stop, man. Hey, Siri, what is equity?
In finance, equity is an ownership interest in property that may be subject to debts or other liabilities. Want to hear more?
No. Equity is an ownership interest in property. Equity means that you own a share of it. Here's the deal. I own Spillane Enterprises. You're not allowed to have a share of it. I don't give a damn whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're a woman, whether you're tall, whether you're short, whether you're gray hair, whether you're dark hair, whether you're curly hair, whether you're anything. Equity means that you get a share. Oh, equity means that you get a share. And here's what the thing is. Nobody gets a fair shake when they are born. Nobody gets a fair shake. They're barely eat. They can't even stay alive for more than 3 days without food and water for everybody else. Everybody's born into a family. Some of them are rich, some of them are poor, but nobody has an advantage when they're born because they're all born naked. But your family gives that to you. And then you make the rest of the breaks yourself. But to think that you can grow up and then take other people's stuff just because you want it, I want a share of your business. I want a share of somebody's medical system. I want a share of food. I want a share of shelter. What entitles you to that? What entitles you to a share of anything when the rest of us are out here and the rest of the world is out here trying to make it on our own? And you're like, well, that's mean, Mickey. No, because I'm very, very charitable. I give to charities. I give to all kinds of different things. But the point is what makes you think that you're entitled to anything that I have? Let's say that I have nothing, but I have a sandwich. If you go, give me half of your sandwich, I will tell you to kiss my ass. But if you go, I'm hungry, I will be more than happy to give you half of my sandwich. That's the difference. DEI is not based on equality and opportunity. It's based on equity where everybody gets the same thing. I will give you half of my sandwich, but if you force me to give you half of my sandwich, we're going to have a fight over the fucking sandwich. We're going to have a fight over the freaking sandwich. Equity is my biggest problem with this. My daughter's a doctor. Thank you very much. Very, very proud of her. She provides health care in a healthcare system. But if she was a doctor standing in my front yard and somebody walked up to her and said, hey, you're a doctor, you need to take care of me. And she would go, well, I'm good. I'm tired. She'd go, no. You're a doctor. You owe me health care. Everybody would think that that's crazy. Everybody would think that that's absolutely crazy that my doctor could be standing in the front yard and somebody would walk up and expect to have health care given to them because she is a doctor. That is slavery. There is no way in hell that I would let that happen. You don't get a piece of me and my company. You don't get a piece of my daughter and her talents. Hey, you're an aerospace engineer. I want you to design me an airplane. Why? What? Because you're an aerospace engineer. This is equality. I don't know how to design an airplane, so you need to give me the ability. You need to give me an airplane design. And what are you going to do then? Are you going to go to a steel manufacturer and say, hey, look here, this is equity. I need steel to build an airplane. What's the steel manufacturer going to say? No, you can buy it from me in free trade, or I can give it to you. But if you force me to give you steel, no. Are you going to force the workers to make you an airplane? Because that's what equity is. You want freedom to do whatever you want, but you want force people into this equitable situation because everybody deserves to have food, shelter, healthcare, airplanes, boats. Everything that I have, somebody else can have. When you put that into government terms, when you put it into a business terms, and you start forcing people to do that, that becomes socialism and communism. It's not voluntary sharing of ideas. Somebody said, hey, look here, what about co-ops? Co-ops are a great idea. Electrical co-ops, agricultural co-ops, steel building co-ops, rice co-ops, fishing co-ops. Those are all great ideas, but they are voluntary. People volunteer to do that. You don't force somebody to be in a co-op. Hey, look here, we're in a food co-op. Everybody goes out and they till the garden and then they grow the food and then everybody gets a share of that. Isn't that beautiful? Until somebody decides that they don't want to do that. No, I'm going to go off on my own and I'm going to build my own garden. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What about all of us? You're the best grower here. Well, I might be the best grower here, but those 5 guys over there are not doing their share. So I'm just going to go off and go on my own. No. You're not allowed to do that. You got to have your forced labor right over here where we are so that we can take advantage of you being as good as you're going to be. You want examples of co-op? Look at North Korea. Look at Venezuela. Look at China. Look at Iran. Look at all of the forced things that they make those people do in that country, right? So Cuba, great example, right? The people took over so that everybody could share everything. And then what happened? Fidel Castro went, nah, I'd rather just keep everything for myself and you guys fight over the scraps because we're equal. Well, we're equal, but we're more equal, right? So the government and the party is more equal than everybody else. So when we divide things up, it gives nobody incentives to be great. It gives nobody incentive to excel. It gives nobody an incentive to be absolutely great at what they do because all of that is going to be squandered because they got to give it away to everybody else. So why would you excel if you're not going to be rewarded for it? You're like, screw this. I'll just take my minimum housing, my minimum food, my minimum health care, my minimum everything, my minimum transportation, my minimum internet, my minimum electricity, and I'll just live in squalor because as long as I have food and shelter, I can survive. And that's what happens in all of these equity situations. Everybody just goes, okay, well, I'm just going to survive down to the lowest common denominator. And inclusion. Yeah, we should be inclusive. We should be inclusive as much as we possibly can. But the problem is there ain't nobody in a wheelchair playing in the NBA or the NFL. There are not many in coal mines. None that I can know. If there's a wheelchair in a coal mine, somebody please let me know. If there is a wheelchair on an oil derrick, please let me know. Now, somebody that's in a wheelchair can weld and they can do computer stuff. But here's what the deal is. They're not going to be a climbing guide going up Everest. How do you include everybody when not everybody can do everything? Well, we need to fit them in. Who's going to fit them in? Who's going to fit them in? You want me to fit them in? Well, guess what? I don't need any people. I already have the people I need doing what I need to do. So you're going to force other people to include them? You're going to say that people that are not qualified need to be included. Well, who's going to include them? And how are they going to be included? Because if you're going to force people on businesses, if you're going to force people to accept people that can't do the job, now all of a sudden inclusion goes out the window as well. I did my senior paper on the effects of, basically, I can't remember what the title is, right? But inclusion in the classroom and how it affects the other students that are in the classroom and what inclusion means from a government program into the classroom, how it affects the kids that are included, how it affects the kids that are being forced to have this inclusion thrust upon them. In education, because it is public, we need to do the best we can to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. What says is we will make every effort to include people, and we will make the exceptions so that they can come work for our company. And that's been the law of the land since 1990. So I got my degree in 1990. And that's why I was writing on this, because I wanted to see what the effects of inclusion would be in the classroom. That's why I know about this stuff. I'm not some yokel just falling off a turnip truck. I've actually studied this and I've actually experienced. But here's what I know. People are good. People are good. And if you say it enough times, people will come around. If we take the laws that we have now and we implement the laws as they are designed to be implemented, which says, hey, look here, man, equality of opportunity and equality in education is the way to go. Because the only way that you lift the demographic up to make them equal is to give them the same skill sets, and that is through education. So that means we need to be robust in our education system. We can't have failing school systems. We can't let people get away with not one single person in Baltimore being qualified at grade level at the 8th grade. 0 kids in one school were at grade level at high schools in Baltimore. We have to make the same opportunities available to all kids, whether they're going to college or whether they're going to trade school. Let the kids pick what they want to do. And we need to go, all right, you have your primary education, and now we're going to give you 2 years of studying whatever you want to study. So go out and do this. Now, here's the deal. It's going to be unlimited income. The reason why it's limited income is because those financial institutions, or the educational institutions and financial institutions, take advantage of our kids when they're coming out of school. So if you want to go to learn how to be a truck driver, that's going to cost you about $25,000. You need to be able to cut them a check for $25,000, 2 years. You got 6 months to get your grades. And if you're not cutting it, you get kicked out of the program. We'll give you 2 tries. Yeah, I started a school. I know how this stuff works. I know that half the population that shows up on day 1 of school are going to be gone within the first 6 weeks because they're not going to be willing to put in the work. But the program needs to be extended to every single student that's in the United States of America that's coming out of high school, that says if the high school is not going to prepare you, we are going to do that. Education is the key to success. And while they're getting educated, then we need to give them the education that they can do anything, so that they can start their own business, or they can go work for somebody else. But here's what the deal is. You can't just say include people. You can't say just be diverse. And you can't say we have to have equity in outcomes when the people aren't willing to put in the work. And that's all I got to say about that. So there's your solution. DEI ain't it, but education is. Be a good person out there, everybody. My name is Mickey. This has been Mickey in the Middle, the quintessential show for Middle Americans, where all Middle Americans are equal and welcome. So it doesn't matter where you've been, doesn't matter where you're going, just matters that you're here right now. Hey, man, I love you, everybody. You guys have a great day.